Hello, welcome you all to the next session of Global Water Management Conclave being organized by Apple Digital News Network, India and Asia Pacific regions, emerging knowledge consulting, community building, and media research company. Global Water Management Conclave is being conducted by Apple Digital News Network in association with Ministry of Jal Shakti, the National Water Mission, and Namami Gange Government of India. This is the first on the four-part series of Global Water Management Conclave, where we are trying to bring communities together from India, from abroad, from industry, from experts, from NGOs, from citizens, so that we can create an effective dialogue to build an effective water management ecosystem for the future. In the inaugural, we had a keynote address by Sri U.P. Singh, Honorable Secretary, Minister of Jal Shakti, Government of India, in which he had spoken elaborately on various initiatives of Minister of Jal Shakti, and also he tried to explain various concerns raised by other eminent speakers of the inaugural session. We were joined by Ms. Subramaniam, CEO Arghyam, Mehnaz Ansari, USTDA, Henk Koving, who's known as the Water Ambassador of Netherlands in the inaugural, along with Mr. V.R. Raman, Head of Policy of Water in India. And we had 1.5 hour insightful discussion on various aspects of policy. What are the impediments, how those impediments can be overcome, and what is the future and what needs to be done. The focus of the inaugural session was, if I take the crux
You know, watch
of
this.
the inaugural session crux was bringing more and more communities for participate, leveraging digital and technological innovation, implementation of policy in state, district, panchayat, rural level. If I can sum up, the crux of the discussion happened in our session, and for this very important session, the name of the session is Conserving, Managing, and Taking Water to the Last Mile, Rejuvenating Rivers, Rediscovering Water Bodies, Importance of Innovation. You must be thinking that we have tried to encompass various aspects of water, be it taking water to the last mile. So we have a speaker who will be talking on how drinking water is being taken to the last mile in a state, in a district. Rejuvenating rivers. Again, we have an eminent speaker and wonderful work done in the part of Uttarakhand for the rejuvenation of Kosi River, and also rejuvenation of local water bodies. Again, we'll get a perspective from Puducherry, where it has already set a benchmark of rejuvenating water bodies. Also, we'll get Delhi perspective, Delhi Jal Board. We all know what kind of innovation being done in Delhi Jal Board. We'll have a perspective from Delhi Jal Board, and also from Australia, also from Netherlands, and also industry perspective from TCIPL. With this, let me introduce and welcome Nikhil Kumar, CEO Delhi Jal Board with us. We welcome Dr. Tejaswi Naik, Managing Director, MP Jal Nigam. We welcome Nitin Bhadauria, District Magistrate, Almora, Government of Uttarakhand. A. Vikrant Raja, Secretary to the Honorable Chief Minister, Government of Puducherry. John Southwell, Counsellor, Agriculture and Water, High Commissioner of Australia, New Delhi, is joining us from Australia. Mr. Sushil Agarwal, Managing Director, Tejas Construction Infrastructure Private Limited. They're working closely with the various state governments. And Mr. Frank Verschoor, COO, Hydraloop Systems, BV, Netherlands. We welcome Mr. Frank as well. He's joining us from Netherlands. With this, we'll start with Mr. John Southwell, Counsellor, Agriculture and Water, High Commissioner of Australia, New Delhi, because he has got an urgent meeting. So we'll start with him. 5 to 8 minutes for Mr. John Southwell, Counsellor, Agriculture and Water, High Commissioner of Australia, New Delhi. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. And it's fantastic to be able to be joining you from Canberra in Australia, in the Australian Capital Territory. I'm actually speaking to you within the Murray-Darling Basin, which is the Murray-Darling as a river is only 200 kilometres very short of the Ganga River in India. Australia and India have very similar climatic conditions and also concerns with water security as well. And we are also both federations, and that the federative systems of government, plus also the fact that water is devolved between federal, state and territories' responsibilities. In terms of Australia and India, we have had a long period of collaboration on water resources management, and we have actually signed an MOU back in 2009 on water resources management collaboration, which was renewed in 2014, but then also was renewed just this year in 2019 at a recent meeting between and was endorsed at a recent meeting between virtual summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also Prime Minister Scott Morrison at the Australia-India virtual summit. In terms of Australia and India collaboration, we have much to offer, and there is a lot of collaboration underway. There is also, for example, the development of a user guide on river basin management, and also I should note that the new High Commissioner to India is actually the former Premier of New South Wales, and has a lot of experience with transboundary river systems, specifically the Murray-Darling Basin, which actually crosses a number of federal and state lines, as long as and that's very similar to the rivers in India. We have a number of collaborative projects, including that completion of the user guide, which I've referred to, which draws on the Australian experience in the Murray-Darling Basin and consultations with the Indian counterpart agencies to document a process for developing basin plans in India, which also, where rivers actually don't actually respect state lines, which actually go across state lines, and also have to, because our constitutions actually recognise that it is both a federal and state responsibility, but also that rivers go across those lines. Australia has also contributed very heavily to the managing aquifer recharge and sustaining groundwater usage through village level intervention, or MAVI, which is focusing on training farmers in groundwater management in the Indian states of Rajasthan and Gujarat. There are a number of other areas of collaboration which we have engaged in, and Australia has also engaged in a number of areas of innovation back here. For example, did you know that Australia was actually the first country to actually develop the dual flush toilet, which actually is something where you can actually do is a water saving measure, which I won't go into, which actually allows you to flush accordingly, according to the means that is required to actually be flushed. So there is actually a real opportunity there, where Australian innovation has now actually populated the rest of the world, both in terms of river basin planning, but also in terms of home planning, and also the fact that Australia, being the driest inhabited continent on Earth, has actually been able to produce, through judicious water management and governance as well, been able to create and irrigate agricultural production such that we can actually export 2/3 of what we produce, which is something that is no mean feat. You think of Australia as a big place, but it is also very, very dry. And so as a result, if we're able to produce what we can from the water which we are given, we're able to export a lot more, which is something which we can actually suggest would be of great benefit to India as well. And also the fact that we have a number of things which are very common to India. I would suggest that while the challenges are very similar, there are also a number of contrasts which are quite different, in that Australia has 300,000 farmers, whereas India has 30 crore. And it is something which is very, very clear to us when we are trying to understand the Indian context, and the fact that if we're able to undertake a number of areas of water resource management, also noting the fact that we have various boundaries across very similar federative systems of government, as recognised through our comprehensive strategic partnership between Australia and New Zealand, Australia and India, which was agreed between Prime Ministers Morrison and Modi just as recently as early last month. One of those things was a memorandum of understanding on water resource management. It is something which is recognised as very key priorities for the betterment of both of our countries. Thank you.
Thank you, John Southwell, Counsellor Agriculture and Water, High Commissioner of Australia, New Delhi. He talked about, if I take a cue from what he has said, comparing 30 crore versus 3,000. Yes, challenges are huge, challenges are different, but opportunities can be leveraged in the same way. I think that's what John Southwell elaborately said, that that's where the collaboration part comes, especially when it comes to water management. And I'm sure India-Australian partnership in future years will continue. I think he has to leave. And with this, we move on to Nitin Bhadauria, District Magistrate, Almora. Almora is a picturesque hilly town in the state of Uttarakhand, which has got remarkable job in terms of rejuvenating the river Kosi, and it has been done under the leadership of District Magistrate Nitin Bhadauria in Almora. Over to you, Mr. Nitin Bhadauria. Tell me how you have made this possible, or I know this work is still going on, but how this rejuvenation of Kosi river have been possible? Nitin Bhadauria.
Shavik will be requesting the esteemed panel that we have a small presentation. I think, presentation gives a better idea, when you're speaking about it. We're just sharing that presentation, and, I think, any questions we have, we'll take up, immediately.
Sure.
Kosi rejuvenation, actually, Kosi is the largest, river which is, flowing through our district, and, around 2009, the water flow reduced to such an extent that it became from a perennial river, it turned into a seasonal river. And, we were blessed in that sense that, we had GV Pant and we had, Shavik, can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can see this presentation. It's on here.
So, this is one of the presentations that we have. So, the water flow reduced from 790 liters per second to 50 liters per second, and it turned into from a perennial river to a completely seasonal river. So, we had taken up to 41 kilometers of this stretch which was flowing through our district for rejuvenation. Initially we went with two kind of studies. One was a geomorphical scientific study. We were lucky that we had GB Pant Institute of National Institute, which is handling the NMCC National Mission on Climate Change in Himalayan region, located within the Almora district itself. So we took help from them. Dr. Vasudha Griotri is handling this project. She did a complete study on aquifers, rejuvenation of river, and how the geomorphical study was completely carried out under her supervision. Then e-governance study and GIS mapping was carried out by Professor Rawat of Kumar University, who was handling the data management center on GIS. So we initially formed 14 recharge zones, and we took up different activities under the recharge zone. These are the maps of different recharge zones which were built up, and you could see the green area is basically the reserve forest area, yellow area is the inhabited area, and so on and so forth. And according to the different geographies of the recharge zone, different activities were taken up. So, this was first the GIS mapping of recharge zones was taken up. Then the site-specific planning, including the plantation activity and water recharge interventions and form the structures. This was also supplemented through a community mobilization program, and the entire funding for the program for the project in the civil areas was through Manrega, and in the forest areas was through Camper. The water recharge interventions that were taken up were the infiltration holes, the percolation ponds, infiltration trenches were built up, biocheck dams were built up, and dry stream check dams using local materials were this. These are the different site photographs that were built up on, and every photograph has every site has been mapped on latitude and longitude wise, and all the works are monitored through satellites also, linkage also we are trying up. uh, so we wanted to transform into a self-sustained community movement. So we had designated different local community as the focal points of the work that was happened. School children were involved. Of course, in these times, these photographs look like too many people crowded together and no social distancing happening. But these are photographs of pre-corona, and not the new normal that we are talking about today. Uh, then these recharge zones, each recharge zones, we partnered with the army, the ITBP, other NGOs, and the village management communities were formed. The six pillars on which this project was taken up was the sustainability, replicability, transparency, accountability, cost effectiveness. This from Kosi Bachao Abhiyan, it became into Kosi Jan Andolan. That was our aim. We designed logos. We had competitions amongst children. We really wanted to target children over here because at the end of the day, the change that comes in from the children was, I think, was really effective. We had Kosi awareness rallies. We made Kosi brand ambassadors in every school, in every village. We had local pledges in local community dialects which were taken, and we organized different marathons, different Kosi cycle rallies were organized, Kosi cleanup drives were taken up. We also had Kosi Samman felicitation ceremonies so that people who are contributing to it were suitably, felt suitably motivated, and suitable recognition was given to them. The intervention, in terms of number of numbers, these are the few numbers that we have done up, I'll not be going through the numbers, but, a sizable work has been taken up. And of course, in partnership with the ELETs, I think, Almora Environment Summit was organized, which was organized in 2018, and High Commissioner of Mauritius was a chief, chief guest over there, and, Joint Secretary MOEF, Mr. Nikhil was also there, along with the other dignitaries. And the agenda for rejuvenation of Himalayan rivers was the outcome over there. And total in all, 360 million liters of groundwater augmentation has been done. These are different outcomes. We've taken up now new rivers for Ramganga has taken up, Kunjgarh has been taken up, Jataganga and Gagas have been taken. And to the entire, using GIS mapping, transparency has been ensured, natural regeneration of forests has been encouraged, additional employment has been created up, and we have also set up Kosi Secretariat and Kumar River Recharge Generation Recharge Committee, in under which 6 districts have taken up works in different parts of Kumar. This project has also won the in the inaugural National Water Awards. It was best project in river rejuvenation category. Maximum number of tree plantations carried out in an hour. It holds a Limca book. When the project was launched, 1,67,000 plants were planted, and it's listed in Limca Book of Records. It has also been listed as the best project amongst the CMU Uttarakhand Excellence Awards given by the Honorable CM. And Honorable High Commissioner of Mauritius has talked about its replication in Mauritius. Even in the newsletter by UB Singh sir, it has been referred to as best practice in its category, and we were very happy that UB Singh sir was able to come over here and see the progress himself. These are the different websites and data entry forms that we have got. We've also created a database linkage to Google Maps and other GIS-based applications that are happening in the country. This is one of the aerial drone photographs of the site on which the plantation was carried out. As you can see, it's been carried out on a large scale, and of course, the water flow, due to natural regeneration also, during Corona times. But this time the water flow has been substantial, and this is how we've gone about it. And I think we received support from all quarters, and I think it is very replicable, and this activity could be taken up anywhere else also. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Plan took off. Thank you for joining us. I know you have to run for a urgent meeting VC with Honorable Chief Minister, so I won't let you wait for this. But thanks for joining, giving us time to join for this Global Water Management Conclave. I'm sure we are going to do various editions of this conclave, and we'll get your support and your presence as well as a speaker. Thanks a lot.
And Shovik, we also have a team also sitting over here. Shiven, who's the water management expert, water conservation. If you can say hi over here. And
Hello,
Amit,
Shiven. Thanks for joining us. And you guys are doing a remarkable job in post-river rejuvenation under the guidance of Honorable GM. And I think this will become a benchmark for river rejuvenation in the entire country and world over. Thank you so much, Sumit Bhadauria,
Shovik, so
District Minister of Almora.
Shiven would be here for the questions. If the panel has any esteemed panel has any questions, I think he'll take it over from here. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And thank
With
you to
this,
all the panelists. Right.
thank you so much. With this, we move to from Almora to Delhi. We come to Delhi Jal Board. We have the CEO of Delhi Jal Board, Mr. Nikhil Kumar. He's spearheading the transformation in Delhi Jal Board. We can see every day in paper and news what kind of initiatives being undertaken in the city of Delhi. My question to Mr. Nikhil Kumar will be, uh, what are the major initiatives being undertaken by Delhi Jal Board or DJB, what we say commonly, uh, when it comes to using technology and innovation for water resource management?
Thank you, Shavik. Delhi Jal Board, as you know, is entrusted with the responsibility of providing water services and disposal of sewerage in the national capital. And Delhi today is, projected to have a population of about 23 million by 2021. It's one of the most populous cities in the world. And with increasing population, it puts a severe strain on the basic services of water and sanitation. Even today, we are facing a shortage of about 200 MGD as per the prevalent norms. Now, Delhi is very unique in terms of its water availability and water allocations. So primarily, there are two sources of water, and that is common for all regions. One is the surface flows, and then we have the groundwater. So Delhi is heavily dependent on the river Yamuna for the surface water flows, and about 90% of its water requirements are met from the river Yamuna only. The problem with river Yamuna is that the allocations from the river are guided totally by the interstate river agreements, and they are finite allocations and prone to seasonal variations. So there is only a limited amount of water that we are able to access from the river Yamuna. And the major problems that occur are in the peak summer seasons when the river virtually dries up in certain stretches, and it has happened in the past also. So the other problem is the small geographical area of Delhi. As you know, Delhi is a metropolitan area heavily built up, and we have limited access to groundwater, and which itself is very stressed. So there are reports from the Central Groundwater Board that there are parts of Delhi where the water table is going down by 0.5 to 2 meters every year. So we have to be very cautious in the exploitation of groundwaters also. So these two factors basically restrict our access to the available raw water sources for the city of Delhi, and that is one of the biggest challenge for us. So how do we compensate, or how do we make do with this shortage, and what best strategies can be adopted? So as you know, there are three other sources which we can explore now. One is the rainwater, and that is, I think, the theme of the National Water Mission and also of the Government of Delhi and Government of India, that we catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. Each and every drop of rainwater is precious for Delhi, and in the urban context where we have a severe demand-supply gap. So we promote rainwater harvesting to the extent possible, and with that we are able to recharge. We can recharge the aquifers, we can improve the groundwater levels, and also the extraction of the groundwater that happens through annuals and through tube wells, etc. Their output and yield is also improved. So that is one part, the rainwater, and how best we can access it, we can harvest it, we can recharge. The other is the treated effluent from our wastewater treatment plants. So this is something which is called the treated effluent, or I would call new water. Now, new water is something which is available perennially throughout the year with us. So today, with our wastewater treatment capacity, we are able to generate around 500 MGD of new water every year. Now, as you know, the total requirement of Delhi is about 1200 mgd, and we are presently producing about 930, 940 mgd, which leaves a gap of more than 200 mgd for us. So, how best we can leverage this treated effluent, this new water, and use it most appropriately for basically for all the non-potable uses, and also for potable uses after suitable treatments, etc. That is a unique challenge for us, and this is therein lies the key to the bridging of this demand supply gap that the national capital is facing. And third, like I said, is the groundwater itself. Whatever strategies we can adopt in which we can improve our groundwater levels, we can improve the recharge mechanisms, and we can ensure that sustainable extraction is made in areas which are water deficit. That also holds the key to the availability of water at the last mile as far as Delhi is concerned. So, in all these aspects, Delhi Jal Board has taken a number of steps to ensure that we are able to make use of each and every drop of water that is available and make the most optimal use. Now, in this, like you said, the topic for today is also rejuvenating rivers, rediscovering water bodies, and the importance of innovation. Now, rejuvenating river, I mean, Yamuna River, like I said, is a lifeline for Delhi. And unfortunately, as you know, rivers need certain basic minimum amount of environment flow for them to be perennial in nature. Otherwise, they tend to dry up. If there is over exploitation of river water, there is excessive diversion through the canals, excessive usage for agriculture and domestic and other urban purposes, the rivers tend to dry up if the requisite amount of water is not allowed to flow. Now, unfortunately, in the upstream of River Yamuna from Delhi, there is a heavy demand on the river water. We have heavy agricultural usage of water and also usage for urban areas, due to which in the summer season, but the levels are bare minimum, that is unable to sustain and rejuvenate the river. Plus, it's also a fact that the amount of the treated effluent that is discharged in the river is of varying quality. We also have various industries across all along the river Yamuna, which discharge all kinds of waste under various stages of treatment into the river, which contributes to the river pollution. And also the haphazard, or rather the, there are areas under unauthorized and unplanned development. That's the nature of the organic urbanization that we have faced and we have seen in Delhi, that contributes to the pollution levels in the river Yamuna. So together, in totality, unless we have sufficient environment flows in the river Yamuna upstream from Pajewala and from the other barrages, that can dilute to a certain extent the pollution that occurs in the river, that will go a long way in rejuvenating and reviving the not only the aquatic life but also the river channel per se. It helps in the regeneration flows. It helps in all kinds of other ways also. So that is one area that we have consistently focused on. And I'm happy that the matter has been taken up by the Honorable NGT and even by the Honorable Supreme Court. And there is already a committee under the National Institute of Hydrology is doing a study on augmenting the e-flows in the river Yamuna. I believe it will go a very long way in ensuring that the river gets revived and it restores to its past glory, and it can serve the purpose that it has been traditionally serving in this region. That is one part. From our part, in terms of rediscovering the water bodies, now this is again a very, very important aspect for urban areas like Delhi. We have a list of about 1,000 odd water bodies, which was prepared about 2 years back, which were owned by different landowning agencies. But as you know, the nature of development and urbanization has been such that most of these water bodies are in various stages of degradation. Many of them are encroached. Many of them have become conduits or other for discharging of the wastewater from the neighboring habitations. There is no proper upkeep in most circumstances, and many of them have simply vanished. So I think what Jal Board had done, along with the Irrigation and Flood Department, we have taken up more than 250 water bodies for a comprehensive rejuvenation. What we are trying to do here is that first and foremost, we are trying to clear all the encroachments which are there on these water bodies. We are demarcating the area of the water body along with the wet patch. then whatever drainage is flowing into these water bodies, they have to be plugged and they have to be treated using the alternate treatment methodologies that are available now. As you know, swab technology is available. We have phytoremediation, bioremediation, all kinds of other technologies are available with us. And we are very happy to record that, about 155 water bodies were taken up by Jal Board, out of which 50 water bodies have already been awarded for work. And it's a very cost intensive kind of an effort also. We are spending more than 370 crores on the rejuvenation of these water bodies. This also includes the component of landscaping and component of making them available for the community to as recreation zones with children's play areas, with jogger tracks, and with landscaping, etc. So that community participates actively in these water bodies and they have a stake in their maintenance and upkeep rather than being just pushed from the Jal Board. It is we are involving the community in the maintenance and upkeep of these water bodies. So one such successful water body rejuvenation was in Rajokri village. That's a small village, semi-urban village in the border of Delhi and Gurgaon, where this water body was restored with the phytoremediation technique. So the entire flows that were channeled into this particular water body were trapped, and they were treated systematically through the system of sedimentation tanks, through the phytorite treatment, and then, of course, after polishing also, through the floating rafters and other techniques that are available. And we have developed this whole area into, we have showcased that multiple times also, and we are replicating the same model in about 50 other water bodies where work has already been awarded. It takes about 6 to 8 months for the treatment and this, to be put in place. And then we monitor the water quality, what is the BOD and the TSS levels before the water enters and into the water body, and how we are able to maintain that. So we have been able to achieve that, and we are replicating it, like I said, in more than 250 water bodies in Delhi. So we should see substantial results in about 6 to 8 months' time, where these works have started. And so this is very, very important. Apart from that, like I said, the new water that is generated from the from our wastewater treatment plants, we have major plans to utilize this new water, polish it to the level where it can be used for aquifer recharge. And we already have are in the process of developing 5 new water bodies with the use of this treated effluent only. So we are making water bodies at Dwarka, at Najafgarh, at Niloti, at Rohini, and the oxidation ponds at Timarpur at a cost of more than 160 crore rupees. So basically, what we are trying here is we are channelizing the new water from the treatment plants, polishing it, and then we are creating these artificial lakes, which will help in recharging the groundwater, improving the water levels, groundwater levels there. And simultaneously, we also have plans to extract about 40 to 50% of the recharged amount, which will be used, which will be subsequently treated and supplied to the water deficit areas in Delhi. Total potential we have estimated here to be about, in this regard, to be about 50 MGD. That is what we are trying, and work has already been awarded in these sectors. So we should see very good results in about a year and a half in the creation of these new water bodies. These are new water bodies on the vacant lands available with Jal Board, and we are using our new water for this. Another, I think, one of the most pioneering initiatives towards the use of new water in India is what we are trying to do is we are taking about 70 to 100 MGD, million gallons per day, of new water from our treatment plants, and we plan to release them upstream of Wazirabad near Palla area, which will be mixed and diluted with the natural flows of River Yamuna. And then we can pick them subsequently downstream at Wazirabad and augment our water availability. So what we are doing is we are trying to convert new water from the STPs into the raw water available for the potable water requirements of the city. So the proposals in this regard, the feasibility studies have been done. The proposal has been sent to the Upper Yamuna River Board for their concurrence. And I think once, if this, we are able to receive the requisite permissions and we're able to go ahead with this particular project. That will be a game changer as far as the water security and water availability in the urban areas and metropolitan cities of the country is concerned. So that is, and it will be, we have had small plants and small experiments in other cities also, where treated effluent has been further polished to potable levels, but not to the extent that we're trying to achieve here in terms of 100 mgd of water being converted from the treated effluent to the raw water standards for potable water treatment. So this is one project that we are working on very, very aggressively to meet the demand supply gap in the city. New water bodies I've already explained, and of course the rejuvenation of other water bodies, plus our simultaneously, like I said, for the river itself, I mean, we have large number of drains and sub drains and major drains in Delhi, like in all major cities. It's a Venetian kind of a structure where you have small drains meeting into the bigger drains, and then they go into the arterial drains and they outfall in the river Yamuna. And many of them carry wastewater still. So Delhi Jal Board is very aggressively pursuing the agenda of upgrading all the wastewater treatment plants in Delhi to the 1010 standards, the BOD 10 and TSS 10 standards, which is prescribed by the NGT, and which is very akin to the Class C water that can be picked up for treatment and supply through the WTs. So if you're able to achieve that, that will give a substantial boost to the quality of water that is flowing in the river Yamuna downstream of Wazirabad to Okhla, and which can be further utilized and taken up in the downstream for potable water requirements. So that is one area that we are working on also. Apart from that, Delhi Jal Board has recently decided that we will give, earlier we used to charge for the treated effluent that we were supplying for various horticultural and industrial uses and other use, non-people use in the city. Now Jal Board is providing this treated effluent absolutely free of cost to whoever is interested. We have a large number of industries of various kinds. We have power plants which are in need of this water for cooling purposes, etc. We also have large landowning agencies in Delhi like the MCDs and the DDAs who are operating, and they maintain large green patches and parks and recreational areas which use this water. So in order to incentivize, or rather in order to promote aggressively the use of treated water and replacement of the potable water, and the to curtail the reliance on groundwater for horticulture use, we have now decided to give the treated effluent free of cost. So we have sufficient quantity available right now in Delhi. We are producing about 500 mgd, which is a huge amount, out of which the present usage is only about 100 mgd. So we plan to aggressively replace the potable water usage in these non-productive, or rather non-potable sectors with the effluent water. And we are encouraging all the agencies and sister departments to come forward and join us in this effort to replace the potable water use to the extent possible with the treated effluent and the new water that we are having. So
Sure.
apart from that, in terms of rainwater harvesting, we have always been very aggressively pushing it. In fact, Jal Board has a long-standing subsidy scheme of 50% or 50,000, whichever is lesser, for the installation of rainwater harvesting structures. As it is under the building bylaws, every building above 100 square meters is mandatorily required to install a rainwater harvesting facility. And we are giving a 10% rebate on the water bills also for successful installation of rainwater harvesting structures. We have identified buildings, school buildings, government buildings, institutional buildings, group housing societies, and there is a concerted drive to promote the rainwater harvesting in this present season. In fact, Jal Board has taken up the installation of rainwater harvesting across all non-PWD maintained government buildings, and we hope to complete that work by the year end. Simultaneously, PWD and the Education Department is also taking up rainwater harvesting structures in their respective buildings, and we have achieved quite a healthy progress in this regard. But for it to be made a people's movement, that is the real challenge here. I mean, unless and until the people in the city adopt this rainwater harvesting practices and make it a way of life, make water conservation and make rainwater harvesting a way of life, literally, this will have minimal impact. So what we have done is we have set up rain centers in all the districts. We also have a central rainwater harvesting cell in the Jal Board headquarters. We have empaneled some service providers also. So anybody who is interested in getting a rainwater harvesting structure installed, they can just give a call to any of these centers. Our people will handhold. They will give the consultancy. The service provider will go, and the subsidy amount can be availed, and the rebates can be claimed. So it's a very well integrated kind of a system that we have. So we are just promoting it, and we are pushing it to the extent possible, so that we are able to achieve as much rainwater harvesting as is possible, and which, like I said, is very, very important in the context of Delhi, with limited geographical space and very, very limited surface water sources that are available with us. So all in all, I would say that innovation is the key. We have to look at smart solutions. They're both on the demand side as well as the supply side. We have to see how we can harvest each and every drop of water from wherever it is available, and make it in the form usable to the standards for their particular purpose. If we are able to do that, I think the demand supply gap would continuously go down. As it is, like you said, for all new buildings and residential complexes that are coming up, it is mandatory to have dual piping system. So you need to have separate conduits for the grey water and the black water. You need to have zero discharge facilities set up. And for toilet and for flushing and for other horticulture purposes, the new water will have to be used. So that substantially pulls down the requirement of potable water and makes the system more sustainable. So we are also pushing it for all the new housing schemes and all the new developments that are coming in Delhi. So we are in constant touch and in constant collaboration with the developing agencies like DDA, the Ministry of Urban Development. We have the municipal corporations and other agencies. So we're taking all possible steps which are available to make sure that the water security for the city of Delhi is ensured. We have a perspective plan for the next 10 years for 2031 in terms of water and in terms of sewerage, and it is at different stages of implementation right now. In fact, I would say that right now projects both on the water and sewerage side worth more than 9,000 crores, that's almost $1.5 billion, are underway presently in Delhi and are in various stages of completion. So it's a work in progress, and we are trying our best and involving all the stakeholders and the experts, and making sure that all possible steps are taken to maximize the use of new water, to economize the use of potable water, and to augment the groundwater sources from whatever avenues that are available. Thank you so much.
That's great. That's great, Nikhil Kumar, CEO Delhi Jal Board. Mr. Kumar has given a detailed perspective on what Delhi Jal Board is doing in various aspects of be it river rejuvenation, be it groundwater management, be it using innovation, technology, be it ensuring reaching the water to the last mile, and what Delhi Jal Board is doing and what are their future plans. But I think in terms of rainwater harvesting, he has said a very important part where he has said that people's participation will be very important to make rainwater harvesting a successful reality rather than just being a campaign. I think people's movement, people participation will be leveraged more by the government, and all stakeholders would come together to make Delhi water secure. From Delhi, now we move to another state of Madhya Pradesh. We have Dr. Tejaswi Naik, Managing Director, MP Jal Nigam, with us today. MP Jal Nigam has got huge mandate of taking water to the rural area of Madhya Pradesh, if I'm not wrong. And he has just taken charge 2-3 months back, I guess, as MD of MP Jal Nigam. But before that, he has been the district magistrate of various districts where he has worked closely on water sector. So with this, I move to Dr. Tejaswi Naik, Managing Director, MP Jal Nigam, and then we'll have perspective from other speakers, and we'll make it a little interactive so that we can all have a perspective from various stakeholders together. Over to you, Dr. Tejaswi Naik, Managing Director, MP Jal Nigam.
Thank you, Souvik. Let me thank you for involving me in this good conference. And also, I'm very happy to be part of this honored panel. Yeah, this is my presentation. I'm sorry, the presentation is in Hindi. I don't know how much of it is help for the other panelists. Some of the panelists who cannot follow it. But I will try to.
You can speak in English and presentation can be in Hindi.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. As the slide moves on, I will keep the audio open. So, MP Jal Nigam, next slide, please. We are a body which has been formed in 2012, and our mandate mainly. Next slide. Next slide, please. Our mandate mainly is to give water supply to the rural areas of Madhya Pradesh. There is a additional mandate of sewage also. We are in this aspect. We are quite akin to what CEO Jal Board of Delhi was speaking. Nikhil sir was speaking. We are quite similar to Delhi Jal Board in this way, but we are yet to explore our second mandate, that is of sewage. Right now, we are quite busy with the water supply aspect. Next. These are the different mandates. I think I'll skip this. Next. This is the hierarchy we have. The Chief Minister, the Honorable Chief Minister of MP, is the chairman of this corporation, and vice chairmen are the urban ministers, the public health engineering minister, who is the minister for this department, and the rural development minister, and the chief secretary of MP is also vice chair, followed by directors who are of different departments: urban, water resource department, rural development, and the likes. Next. As I said, we cover all of MP, and we have a planning for all of MP. Right now, we are serving 7,000 villages. We are almost serving them. Like some of the schemes of ours will be commissioning in the coming months. In that way, we are serving around 7,000 villages. And as we speak, we have around 5,000 villages worth of projects ready. From the last year, from 15th August 2019, we have come under the purview of the Jal Jeevan Mission launched by the Honorable Prime Minister, and all our schemes now are according to the Jal Jeevan Mission mandate. The Jal Jeevan Mission of the Government of India, it envisages giving water supply to each and every household by 2024. This is the mainly a rural mandate, because mostly in the urban areas you already have a water connection. The rural areas, you need to give connection to each and every village. So there are certain norms that have been changed. Now the connection has to be each and every household. That means you have to take the water to the doorstep or to the house of each household. And accordingly, the plannings and the DPRs and all our future planning has changed. Next. Next step. Yeah. This is the overall outlay we have. Previous slide, please. This is the overall outlay we have. We have completed 19 schemes, and another 39 are about to get completed. As I said, we are serving around 7,000 villages. Our model of working is that apart from the capital work, the contractor also does our O&M also, the operation and management, for the next 10 years once the project is completed. So we are in O&M phase in 19 schemes, and we'll soon be touching that in another 39 schemes. And all our projects are SCADA enabled. So this helps us in reducing a lot of our follow-up part, wherein human element is involved. We are soon ensuring that our labs are also NABL accredited, and the reportage also becomes online, and which can be visible and out there available on the public domain, so that the people and the customer, especially the customer with whom we have to have a relation, they are able to access it and see it. Next. These are some of the slides of the projects that we have done. Mardanpur is one of the earliest projects we have done, and This is on River Narmada, and most of our projects are in tandem with the irrigation projects that happen. This is one of the projects which is directly on the River Narmada, and most of our other projects are in the irrigation department projects, such as the dams and barrages. So next slide, please. You can just run the photos. You can have a look. Next, please. This is again Mardanpur water treatment plant. Next. This is one of our overhead tanks in a remote area of Salkanpur. Next. This is how the water is being given as a stand post in every household. This is one of our earliest projects, so it has to be slightly modified in the coming days as per the JGM guidelines. Next. Next. As you can see, our mandate of open defecation free, which has been achieved in India by construction of toilets, they are incomplete without proper water supply. So with the coming of these connections, hopefully it will add to the existing norms. And in the coming days, we expect to tap all the schools and all the public buildings also, like panchayats, the public the sub-centers, health sub-centers, and other buildings. Right now, they are mostly dependent on the bore wells. With this connection part, the functionality aspect will improve. Next. Next, please. These are projects, other projects that we have. Next. 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 Yeah, thank you. I think we are done with the presentation here. I'll want to speak about other aspects of our organization. For any utility company in the long run, we will have to focus mainly on the costs that will be incurring in the long run. We need to talk about the conservation aspect also, wherein our sources don't dry up, and when our sources are perennial, regular sources are available. But the cash aspect also is to be seen. With Jal Nigam, we are planning to take a look at our energy costs that come. With my previous experience as Municipal Commissioner Bhopal, one of the major learnings I've had in managing water supply of Bhopal has been that we put a very big energy bill, the electricity bill that comes in. And in the long run, it becomes a very heavy drain on the resources of any corporation who manages it. With the Jal Nigam also, with more than 20% of MP being covered, we are envisaging covering more than 20% of MP. In the coming days, we'll have to look at this size of this bill. So what we are doing right now is we are identifying areas around our projects, and we will be going for solar parks so that we can cross subsidize as much energy bill that is possible as much as possible. And we are in tie-up with the Madhya Pradesh Renewable Energy Department to go into this in a RESCO model. Already one of our project has been identified in the district of Rajgir, and in the coming days, I am expecting that almost all our projects will be tapped in this, and we should be able to show a very good picture. Because when we talk about environment, it is also about our carbon footprint that we should be talking. And all of our projects have a very big carbon footprint. And this is one of the way wherein we can reduce the carbon footprint, I think. So this is one aspect. Apart from this, the Jal Jeevan mission also talks about the grey water management. It is one of the first time that the grey water concept has been addressed. And if you can imagine, anywhere we do water supply, anywhere we supply water, if you are supplying 100%, 80% out of it comes out as sewage. So you can now imagine in all the villages that we are supplying, we will be faced with the issue of sewage and how to handle it. So that's the reason Jal Jeevan Mission talks about the grey water concept also. And as we have seen in India, the sewage component is not to the standards of sewage. It's usually very diluted because of mixing of a lot of other water, and the BOD component is also very low. So that ways we may not have to go for very cost-intensive sewage treatment plants. Lot of natural treatment should help it. And in the same aspect, for each of our villages, there is a requirement to plan this water that comes out, how to use it and how to cycle it. Most of it can end up in the village pond, wherein from where it can be used for local irrigation. So this way, it's also a boost for the local irrigation. The land which is away from the canals can also make use of this, and accordingly, new kind of crop patterns can also be planned. So this planning is very much required, and Jal Nigam, the MP Jal Nigam intends to go into this aspect also. In the coming days, when we plan our whole projects, it should be one, the associated solar park that can come up with the project as part of the project, and two, how we can make use of the grey water in the coming days. Apart from this, for any project in the public domain, for any such project, for any government project, the last mile connectivity is very important. And MP has a lot of villages which are quite remote and in difficult terrain and with a lot of tribal population, and usually designated as backward. So that ways the awareness part will have to be very important. The people are already through the age-old practices of sustainable practices. They are very much in loop. But with the new facilities that is being given through tap water connection and all, this engagement has to happen in a real time. So MP Jal Nigam is following a model of having a village level committee for each of our projects, who are also in charge of collecting the fees, whatever that is possible. Because one thing we have to realize here, the rural aspect and the urban aspect, there is a huge difference between the fee table. In the urban, usually the fee table is at least it covers the input costs. In the rural, it is highly subsidized, and it may not be collected in entirety. So that ways to increase our revenue sources also, and to engage people also, we have dependent on the village level committees. Plus, we have a network of NGOs who have been recently asked to engage the village level self-help groups of women. Now, the self-help groups of women, especially in MP, have been a game changer in many of the projects. We intend to tap them also. And once the women of the village have been involved, who are one of the main target audience or the target population for this scheme, because it is the women who have to carry water from far away. And while involving them in this project, if we can also ensure a proper revenue stream and also the conservation aspect, that will be really helpful in the long future and in engaging people. So we are engaging the local village self-help groups, and through this we are also hoping that in the coming days we'll be able to give them a digital platform wherein they'll be able to communicate very minute issues to the villages, the customers that we have, and this way we'll be engaged. there are also aspects such as most of our villages right now are being supplied through a borewell scheme, the borewell dependent scheme, which is called as Nal Jal. In the coming days, we may augment them with the surface water scheme, that is the Jal Nigam schemes, and through this, we'll be able to ensure a proper continuous water supply. These borewell dependent schemes, we are right now in a study mode, wherein if we can cross subsidize our water during the rainy season when we have abundance of water. So part borewell water and part the surface water. How we can ensure in the same project. This is one of the study aspect for us right now, so that the overall cost comes down. Because in the long run, the sustainability aspect becomes very important, and to reduce the bills, all these plannings are important. Apart from that, uh, technology wise, we always keep a watch at the urban department. That is where most of the latest innovations and practices happen. And the rural water supply aspect is only picking up in our country, and it mainly draws from the experience of urban department. It was nice to listen to CEO Jal Board about the different aspects that are being planned. And I can assure you, we are also onto the same mode, and trying to reduce as much as load on our resources also, and also to reduce most of our carbon footprint that is created, and also to make our projects self-reliant and sustainable. So with this, I just have to mention that Jal Nigam right now is geared to meet the vision of the Honorable PM, that is to provide water supply to each and every household by 2024. In this, Madhya Pradesh Public Health Engineering Department, it is going in a dual mode. That is, half of the work is being done by the PHE department through its single village schemes, that is the borewell dependent schemes, and the other half is being handled by the Jal Nigam, which mainly handles the multi-village schemes, and which involves heavy capital investments also, and it is period-wise also it's slightly longer. So that planning is happening, and this year we'll be seeing a lot of projects taking off, and we are always open to the best practices and sustainable aspects which we can incorporate in our projects. And that's it from my side. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Nayak, for detailing the work of MP Jal Nigam in the rural areas of Madhya Pradesh. But if I take the one point which I can highlight, that I can see the next headline. MP Jal Nigam is all set for the digital transformation. I can that can be uh, discussed at length in various forums in coming months. And but I'm sure I have seen your work as the Commissioner of Bhopal Smart City, Bhopal Municipal Corporation, and you played a very important role for bringing Bhopal in the first 20 list of smart city, if I'm not wrong, 4 5 years back. And I'm sure under your vision and leadership, MP Jal Nigam is going to see many more success and unique initiatives can be leveraged in MP Jal Nigam in terms of digital transformation. And you have also mentioned about a very important point of uh, surface water and aquifer water, that bridging that gap. I think that is also an important part. I'm sure we can have some open discussion after we can finish with some of the other speakers. So from started with hills of Uttarakhand to the plains of Delhi, then we went to the heartland of Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, and now we'll come to the southern part of India. A success story of water body rejuvenation was done in the Union Territory of Puducherry some time back. And the man who did that is Mr. A. Vikrant Raja, who is now presently Secretary to the Honorable Chief Minister of Government of Puducherry. Welcome, Mr. A. Vikrant Raja. We have played the video in the inaugural of this conference. Vikrant Raja, I need to hear that story, what you have done. It is widely publicized, but people should know more what and how. What I will first ask you, what made you to go for this project where you have thought of rejuvenating water bodies?
Sure, Shauksik. And I would thank APAC and Ministry of Jal Shakti, and also especially for screening our video during the inaugural session. I was very much happy to watch the same during the inaugural section. And as we could see from today's speakers, and also
we
by
will play this
our,
video again in this session at the end of this session, so that all the panelists can see that video.
Definitely, it will be a pleasure. So, as rightly said by our secretary, sir, UP Singh, sir, that slowly our people are recognizing our traditional knowledge of water conservation, and it is actually amplifying the rate in which we are growing in our water conservation methods. So, in case of coming back to Karaikal and the water rejuvenation program we took up in Karaikal, I would like to give a small introduction about Karaikal. Karaikal is a small coastal district, which is a very small district of 160 square kilometer, and it also plays a part of Kaveri Delta region. So, as you all know, there is always a dispute on Kaveri water sharing, and it was due to 2019 we had a very good southwest monsoon, and we received Kaveri water to Karaikal, and we got a very good news that Kaveri water is going to reach Karaikal. And as you very well aware, that in recent times, the social media plays an important role in understanding people's pulse and people's requirement. So I started receiving memes from various WhatsApp group and in social media, where the youngsters of the nation were posting a meme saying that after so much of struggle, we are receiving Kaveri water. But what efforts we have taken in storing the same? Are we going to store the same, or are we going to leave it alone as such? So this question created a spark in Karaikal district administration, and we started to look into avenues to recreate the water bodies that was originally present in the ancient times in Karaikal region. So to go with water conservation, as you have many have rightly pointed out, to make a movement sustainable, community participation plays a key role. And one of the main reason for lack of community participation or people's ownership towards water body can be associated with the classic economics principle called as tragedy of the commons. So if you are going to take water bodies as such, so water bodies as such is a common good. So no individual owns it. It's a public good. So when there is a public good, always it faces a problem of tragedy of the commons because no one takes the ownership of it. Because of lack of ownership, the water body conservation or water body encroachment is allowed, and we could see water body getting degraded in the coming days. The same problem was faced in Karaikal. I could say that when there is water body and people are using the water body for their needs, people are conserving it. And when slowly the water availability and the reach access to the water moved from water bodies to wells in their backyard, the people were not worrying about their water bodies. When the well was converted into hand pumps, people didn't worry about the wells. When the hand pumps was being replaced by piped water supply, we didn't care about the hand pumps as well. So this is our behavioral association with the water bodies that was very key in conserving the water bodies. So the first thing that we took up was, especially like in Government of India, they came up with a term itself called as Jal Shakti, where we could relate with the program the moment we pronounce the name of the scheme. So we wanted to have such kind of scheme in Karaikal where the localites can relate themselves once we are going to say it, and they can have an ownership and identity towards the water. So we termed a term called as Namni in Tamil, which can be translated as our water. The moment we say that it's our water scheme, it itself gives a message to the public that this is what our agenda is all about. We are going to conserve our water. And the second thing is how we are going to regenerate water bodies and what are the methods we are going to involve and how we are going to bring the communities together. So there is, as Jal Shakti rightly points out, there is MG Narega scheme that is going on in India, where it also involves creation of water body assets in rural areas. So while doing that, before just promoting those schemes, we called all the people involved in MG Narega. We made them to sit together and we put up certain questions in front of them to touch their emotions. Because when we want to bring about an attitudinal change or behavioral change in people, we can use various methods like telling them about scientific facts and importance of water conservation. But it may take some time to reach the people. One of the easiest method to reach to the public is telling them in the most emotional way and in the better way that they could understand. So the first question we have put up before the Gram Roster Sevaks, who are the in charge of each village in the MG Narega scheme, is how many of you know swimming? So almost everyone in the group who is around 40 plus rose their hand and said that each one of them know swimming. So our second question was, how did you learn swimming? So everyone's immediate answer was through the water body which was available in their village. And the third question was, how many of your children know swimming? And none of them rose their hand. And the reason was the water body in which they learned the swimming is no more available. It's either polluted, it's either gone away in the process of degraded, and it became a plain land. So now we put up a question in front of them, leave aside all those importance of water. But if you want to contribute to your own children, and if you are given an opportunity to recreate the water body in which you have lived and you have enjoyed and you have learned your life, and then give it back to your children, will you use it? And everyone was very much moved and everyone was happy to do the same. And when this same energy, when they went to the people and started up the MGNREGA works, it gave us beautiful results. Because people, before starting their work, MGNREGA is seen as an employment scheme alone. But when people were told them about the importance of this activity they are going to do, they started to have an emotional connect with the process that they are involved in. This emotional connect made sure that the water bodies are created in the most perfect way. They went beyond that they could do in MGNREGA, and they invested even their own money also in some other water bodies which are not covered in MGNREGA, and they started taking it up. We could see slowly a community movement was creating in Karaikal. So we don't want to leave it in such time alone. So we wanted to bring the community movements through other sources of funding, because we have MGNREGA, but we have a lot of works to do. We don't have funds. So we started to create more ways. So we started to engage our companies under corporate social responsibility scheme. Here again, we didn't ask them such like that. We had a meeting of all the companies available in Karaikal. We explained to them about the situation, because in 2018, Karaikal experienced one of the worst cyclone. It's a coastal village, coastal town, and then it experienced the Gaja cyclone, which is one of the worst cyclone, which taken away much of the greenery in Karaikal, and which resulted in very less summer rainfalls in 2019. As a result, we experienced low precipitation level in Karaikal district. We made the companies to realize the same, and the companies came forward. And one of the best thing we did was we started to allot the water bodies available with the government, and then also the channels available with the government, and gave them NOC. And then we ensured them we don't want any transaction of money here. You just do the work and hand it over to us, which created a transparency and accountability, and that motivated the companies also to take up the work in a much better way. And while these discussions were going on in our office, we have been saying that, sir, we could see that people are taking up this water body rejuvenation as their own movement in terms of MGNREGA, and companies are taking up under CSR. So as a government employees, what are we going to do? What is our contribution towards this water body conservation? And this question came up with an answer called as, we innovated something called as ESR, Employee Social Responsibility. So under Employee Social Responsibility is a simple thing. Each and every government officers will take up a water body. Like Karaikal Collectorate has 18 staffs in it. So we 18 joined together and contributed either through manual work or by contribution of money to clean up a water body. So this became a movement, and we also use principles of Richard Thaler, a Nobel laureate in behavioral economics, to nudge the each and every government officers. So we bring in a challenge for government officers and also challenges among government officers. So whenever a government department takes up a water body and cleans it, immediately we send a message that we have cleaned a water body. So when are you going to clean the same? So these nudges started to take up, and slowly each and every government officers started taking up water bodies. So police stations, each and every police station took up a water body. Each and every taluk office took a water body, all through their own contributions. So each employee contributed either manual work or they contributed money, and then they started to take up the water body. Then again, we wanted to still even create much more bigger movement. So what to do? So here we understand that Karaikal, and also in this area of this, in this region of this country, always the temple, or not only a place of worship, but it's acted as a social institution. It made sure that water are conserved in the village. So each and every village had a temple, and each temple has more than one pond associated with it. So this ensured that water was conserved from ancient times. So we started digging the records of revenue records, and then identified Karaikal being a zone of this Chola ruling area. There were many temples and there were many ponds associated with it. but much of these ponds were disappointed. They were existing only in the revenue records. So as a district collector, we brought in temples. Some temples are very famous. You would have heard about Tirunallar, the famous Saturn temple of in present in Karaikal. We took up those records. We identified nearly 33 ponds which were present only in the record, is no more in the field. So we requested the temple authorities to take up under the scheme called as Temple Social Responsibility. We made sure that every temple came into the picture and they started desilting the ponds which is owned by them. On seeing this, even madrasas and masjids, they started coming and they started taking up the ponds at their level. So not only stopping with this, whenever as a district collector I was invited as a chief guest for any function in schools and colleges, I made sure that I say a small description about the ongoing scheme of Namnir in each and every school and college, and seeing that the school students and college students, they started getting motivated, and through their NSS and NCC coordinators, they started involving water rejuvenation program. And I'm very happy to say more than 10 water bodies were desilted by only schools alone and colleges alone. This involves both private and public schools. And then there came another one need. So we wanted to make it as a more water as a gift. So what we did was, there is a habit of people celebrating their birthday of either their leaders or their movie stars in a much more grander way. And Madras High Court came up with a judgment of banning of banners in those area in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry as a token of advertisement. So we used this opportunity, we gave a press release. If at all anyone wants to celebrate someone's birthday, you can come to us. Based on your budget, we will show you a water body, how small it may be. We will identify it and show it to you. You can gift it as a gift, as a birthday gift to your loved ones. And as a good gesture, students who were trained by a professor for free of cost for a competitive examination, they are now managers of various banks. They came together, they desilted a water body and they gifted it back to their teacher. So this kind of emotional connect that you were able to have with the people, were able to take this program to the next higher level. And the next things what we did was, we identified the agricultural areas there, and we identified the reasons for areas that went out of agriculture and became barren land. And one such village was Poom village. It's a very coastal area and there was always a saltwater intrusion. So through MG Narega, we made sure that we build a bund and ensured there is no saltwater intrusion. And also through surface water storage, we ensured that there is no saltwater intrusion. I'm very happy to say, a land which lied for barren land for past 15 years, it brought back into cultivation again by this small work by the people themselves. And now the area of cultivation in Karaikal is slowly increasing. Even if you are going to calculate the total area sowed of cotton in Karaikal region has increased nearly 100 acres when compared to the previous year, because water availability played a major role in that. So to put up in a short form, I could explain only certain schemes that we have undertaken with the given time. So here the main agenda was, water bodies are a common good. So any common good will suffer tragedy of commons. And that's a classical economics problem, and solution lies in our behavioral change and in our behavioral economics. Ownership is the solution for conserving the water body. Once we created the ownership feelings among the rural people, they stopped littering the water body. They questioned the encroachment in the water body. They came up and they started conserving the water body. They stopped the sewage water and grey waters draining into the water body. And many villages came up to us and they requested that they should be permitted to plant trees and conserve trees in the bunds of the water bodies. So this is the greatest achievement we have made. It's not the water bodies were rejuvenated alone. Those water bodies, as the scheme rightly mentioned, is our water. People of Karaikal started taking it as our ponds. So once it has become their ponds, we don't need an institution or a government to come and conserve it or rejuvenate it, because I'm pretty much sure that once people started owning it, it will be conserved on its own. And I would like to just say the outcomes of this program. The outcomes were nearly 178 ponds were rejuvenated in 3 months' time, and 720 kilometers of minor channels were taken up under MG Narega. 80 kilometers of major channels were taken up by CSR funding, and then nearly 4 wells were taken up by Namnir program. And as a result, when compared to last 3 years, December 2019, when the water level was checked by the Central Groundwater Authority, they officially said that the groundwater level in Karaikal has in an average increased about 10 feet. And during February 2020, when they did the same, they were happy to say nearly 15 feet the groundwater level has increased. And all this happened just in a 3 months time. because of people's participation, because of people's ownership. We were being just able to give them an opportunity to come and join us in the movement. And we were also like, there's a program under Government of India like Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. So where people's traditional knowledge on medicines and practices were being encountered, which will be recorded, which will be used as a tool to study while giving patents. In a similar way, Karaikal did a traditional knowledge study by engaging with the elders in each and every village, and we identified the lost water bodies in each and every village. So they were saying that there was a water body before 60 years, before 70 years, when I was a kid in this village, and we started to identify the same and found it out. So traditional knowledge and the common knowledge helped us to recreate the water bodies in Karaikal region, and this was our contribution, our work in Karaikal. And the final point I would like to say here is, water, once it becomes your water to our water, it will be always conserved, it will be always preserved. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and thank you for again APAC for playing the video of Namneer Karaikal during the inaugural session. I'm obliged. Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I think people from various parts of India and world over are present in this panel, and people from world over are watching this live telecast, which is being broadcasted through Apple Digital News Network, Facebook page, also in YouTube. And I think this kind of story inspires you. We heard the story from MP. We heard the story from Puducherry. And I think very important part you have said when you ended your statement by saying it is important to make your water my water. I think the success and the crux of that mission lies in that behavioral change in people's mind. And you also mentioned a very important point where you have said that you ensure that it become the ownership is being taken by people. It's rather than it's just a mere government plan or a government mission. I think that's how the mission got success. Almost 150, more than 150 ponds in 3 months. That's huge. And I think if anybody wants to know more about your success story, they can surely log into apecdigitalnewsnetwork.com in coming days and see the entire detailed interview of A. Vikrant Daja, which we will be publishing and airing soon. With this, we had three perspectives from three states from policymakers, one from Uttarakhand, one from Madhya Pradesh, now one from Puducherry, and also one from Delhi. So you heard what policymakers who are defining the policy in the government level, what are their thoughts? But what about the industry? The very important part of the entire ecosystem is industry, who are working very closely with government to make this flagship programs of Government of India or various state governments a success. We have an eminent industry leader from water sector, Mr. Sushil Agarwal, Managing Director, Tejas Construction and Infrastructure Private Limited. And we also have a special guest from Netherlands, Mr. Frank Verschoor from Hydraloop Systems BV, Netherlands. He'll be also shedding some light on the innovation being done by his company. But I'll first come to Mr. Sushil Agarwal, Managing Director, TCIPL. Mr. Agarwal, welcome you. You're a veteran in this industry, in water sector. I won't go in what TCIPL is doing and whatever work is being done by you. We all know that, and we have already seen that in previous presentation being given by Mr. Sushil Agarwal. I will come to a very pertinent question. Being an industry, being as you are representing industry, what do you think that government should do, be it government of India, be it state governments, when it comes to helping industries in the water sector? Being a veteran of water industry, what is your thought? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Vikrant, for giving us this opportunity. And throughout the day, like since morning, I'm very happy to listen to all the government officials, including the leader, Mr. UP Singh. And even though I know him from my hostel days, but I didn't know that he has learned so much regarding field activity also. I was very happy to listen about his experiment of hybrid annuity model for sewage treatment. I was really impressed to listen about that. So, as a citizen, see, as a veteran citizen of this country, we made several trips in some Asian countries, European countries, and always we listen that whenever you require water for drinking, you open the tap which is there in the bathroom, and you get your drinking water. So I really wonder. Earlier I didn't believe it, but having experienced myself, I always wonder that when we are going to get that drinking quality water in our tap, because we all have our water purifiers, whatever to get the water coming from our municipal bodies converted to drinking water quality. So what I understand as an engineer, as a technocrat, that first of all, we must have a zeal to have a world standard water infrastructure. The way we have world standard metro, we have world standard airports, we have world standard commercial complex, we have smart cities, but our water infrastructure looks like in a very primitive stage in most of the places. Now, I was very impressed. I really enjoyed what Mr. Nikhil Kumar, CEO Delhi Jal Board said. Means whatever he said was quite close to what to say abroad. But what is our experience? Now I'll come to our experience, that we see a lot of problems at our end. Like it all starts. See, all our work starts from tendering, and before tendering, there is a preparation of DPR, detailed project report. Now, in most of the places, we see that there is a problem at the level of DPR only in the first place. The detailed project reports preparation is outsourced to the lowest bidder, and there is no limit to it. So, somewhere this has to, this point has to be taken into account, that preparation of DPR doesn't cost much. The overall project cost, the cost of DPR preparation is very low. So that should not, awarding the work of DPR, preparation of DPR should not be given to a lowest bidder. There has to be certain minimum criteria of his standards. This is the first thing. Second thing is, there has to be standard operating procedures for preparation of DPR and further tendering system. In tendering system, we have, whoever is preparing tender, he has his own pattern. So we should have standardization there also. And now, what I understand, that we know FIDI contracts. So model bid document should be used for preparation of NIT, either like FIDI contracts, or we know that something was prepared by CIDC, Construction Industry Development Council. They prepared some model bid documents, which is there lying since last 20-30 years, I think. I don't know exactly, but something of that kind should be used for preparation of NIT. Then, see, I hope I'm not taken as a my views are not taken as a criticism of the government of officials. It is not something personal, but this is what we experience. See, wherever we get the opportunity, because everything depends on the tender. Whatever is given in tender, contractor has to follow it. No, we cannot do everything. We cannot deviate from the tender itself. We can deviate minutely. So, so that preparation of NIT is very important. Then further, before publishing NIT, some prior work prerequisite is very important, like getting financial tie-up. Means, this is not a common experience, but many times it happens, which affects the duration of the project as well as the cost of the project. So not much prerequisite is done, like water reservation in the source, then financial tie-up, then getting lands acquired for building substructures, right of way, means permission from National Highway Authority, Railway Authority, State Highway, or other road authorities like this. So all these permissions, if they are taken prior to publishing NIT, then work can be completed within the time limit, and that will not means the work will not extend beyond the NIT period. Otherwise, the work extends beyond the NIT period. It leads to cost escalation. It forces contractor to make claims for compensation. It is very logical that before a contractor comes on the site with all his machinery, with all his manpower, everything has to be sorted out. If things are sorted out after the contractor comes on the site, then there is a vast cost implications and time is also wasted. So that was one thing. Then again, the point is selection of technology. Now as I said, that we should build a structure of world standard. So naturally, we must go for latest technology, and the kind of technology we have shown in our presentation. Use of latest technology should be there. Digitization, artificial intelligence, SCADA, all this should be utilized properly. There is no system of leak detection. There are we know that NRW in most of the Indian cities, even in Pune, where I live, it is to the level of 50%. Whereas I know in Singapore it is 7%. So that level of NRW is very alarming for us. We should understand that there is no availability of potable water for us, and whatever is available should be used very effectively. Then again, that it was discussed that not much data is available of the existing water infrastructure. So from a water supply contractor point of view, whenever there is an augmentation of the scheme, the data for the existing network is hardly available. So if we go for digitization of this networks, at least now whatever we are building, then in future, whenever they want to go for augmentation, they will have data, reliable data with them for designing as well as for construction. Then I have few more suggestions. Like it has been discussed already. Mr. Nikhil Kumar already told that nearby water bodies are rejuvenated, or the strengthening is done. That is a very good thing. It's a very welcome measure. Then one more issue which I have always heard about it, that life cycle cost. Are you listening to me? Are you getting my voice? So
yes. I guess I'm listening. I'll just request you if you can just wrap it up in 2 minutes, because we have one more speaker.
I have two more. I have only 2 more points.
Then we have a next panel. Yeah.
I have summed up mine in one page only. Okay, I'm just finishing it.
Yeah, sure.
So we should work on a life cycle cost. We should work on a life cycle cost that is capex plus opex all put together. That is very important for selection of technology or for selection of contractor. For both these things. This is my suggestion. Then again, in our country is a vast country. Every program starts at a national level. So like now, the Prime Minister has launched Jal Jeevan Mission. In 5 years, we have to cover all households in the country. For building all such a huge infrastructure, we have to have innovative technologies, innovative methods. So this precast engineering is used for building highways, housing, but again, I suggest that it should be used for building water infrastructure as well, like OSTs, WTPs, and we can go for in rural areas, we can go for package treatment plants, which will not take much time for making scheme operational.
Right.
Then again,
Right.
this SCADA, we should go see SCADA. Is, people are using SCADA of various levels. So what we said is that we should go for SCADA at a full scale, right from starting raw water pumps to opening a wall of OHT. Then water audit is very important. We don't have a system of water audit. That should be incorporated in our working. Then customer care and grievance redressal system that can be made easy by using artificial intelligence chatbot. That's my suggestion.
Right. Right.
Yes, that's all. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sushil. Thank you, Mr. Sushil Agarwal, Managing Director of TCIPL. I'm sure the points raised by you is not about whether anybody in government will like it or not, but it's a very pertinent points. As you're representing industry, the pain of industry should be heard by government leaders, and I'm sure this kind of discussion will actually help to come up with a solution where it becomes both win-win situation for both government and industry. By the way, just before I go to Mr. Frank, I'd like to tell you that you talked about tendering and everything. It's a problem. We all know. Even people in government also accept that. But during COVID times, in last 3 months, in last initial months of lockdown, India has seen how things can move fast. So it's all about if you think it can be done. So that has been proven now. I think Mr. A. Vikrant Raja, being a policymaker, I can see a smile on his face. He'll accept that if we want really, things can move fast. So that there should not be a hindrance. We can talk about this offline sometime down the line. But with this, I can see a smile in Mr. Frank's face also. Hi, Mr. Frank. Mr. Frank Verschoor, COO, Hydraloop Systems BV, Netherlands. Thanks for joining us and waiting for so long. But I'm sure that you are taking interest in entire conversation. Over to you, Mr. Frank. Your thoughts on the use of innovation for the growth of water sector and what can be done for water resource management. I think Mr. Frank's audio is not. I think you have to unmute you.
Yeah, I have unmuted myself. Okay.
Hi, Mr. Frank. Hi, how are you?
Thank you. I've learned a lot of all the presentations so far. And I also want to provide some food for thought in all discussions because we have a different approach, not solving all problem. I think it's clear to everybody that it's a challenge to provide water. It's a challenge to provide clean water and safe water. It's a challenge to provide sufficient water. And basically what we have developed, and we have been working on this already for nearly 20 years. And since 2 years, we have it right. We have developed water treatment plants that are basically decentralized, that are into the homes, that are into the buildings. Can I share the screen? Is that... One sec. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see your screen, yeah.
Okay. So basically, and those percentages, they will differ depending on the behavior of the consumers or of the owners of the buildings. But by small water treatment plants that are placed into the homes, that are placed into the apartment blocks, that are placed into sports clubs, that are placed into business buildings, you can save up to 45% use of water supply. So basically what we say, if you take a shower, that water can be reused, and showering is one of those things that consumes a lot of fresh water. The other benefit is, at the end of the day, it also saves in purging of wastewater. And that basically is what we deliver. So it's some food for thought for you. When I was traveling around in your stunning country, I did see that there was a lot of new project development going on. So new people probably coming, people stepping up also in the welfare level. But also, and I think that was also one of the things that has been said, there is also a request for consumers to change their behavior, to become more aware also of the scarcity of water, and also take more care of that. What we see, and we have seen research from all over the world, people are becoming more and more aware, but at the end of the day, and probably everybody who is here on in the call as well, after a tough night of sleep or a tough day of work, if you take a shower, it's one of those moments of relaxing. And at that moment, it's very difficult to think about the fact, okay, I should take a short shower because otherwise I consume too much water. And this is what we basically is water comfort. And this is also one thing. We have seen studies of this, and yeah, if you ask people to shorten showers, and the studies have proven this, the feedback was, yeah, this is something we have difficulty with. We forget about it when we take the shower. And yeah, here we are in a northern European country, so we have much more issues here with cold weather probably than you in India, maybe in the north of India. But if you ask people to set the heating on maximum 17 degrees, they won't do it either. So they want to enjoy the moment of showering and the rest of relaxation, and don't have to worry about sustainability. So what is a key element, and that's what we try to bring to the world. I will open another slide. I don't know what is the average use of water consumption in India. We still need to find it out. We see that there are some differences all around the world. In Europe, it's on average 120 to 150 liters per person per day. In Australia, and this is this picture, it's 200 liters tap water per day. What can we do? We can bring this back to only use in Australia to 102 liters of tap water. So people still can have their bath and shower. If you have the kitchen water, that is too contaminated to reuse, and we also can reuse parts of the laundry machine. After this, and within the water treatment plant, you can reuse 98% of liters of treated water, and that is mostly done for flushing toilets, but it is also for garden irrigation and topping up pools. What is very important, when we started already 20 years ago, there were no standards of for reuse of grey water. Nowadays, there are quite a few standards. We see them in Europe. In the US, there is the NSF 350 standard. We are compliant with those standards nowadays. And yeah, that basically means that it is very safe to reuse this water. Of course, it's not for reusing to drink it. To be very honest, we personally have tried it. It's drinkable water, but nobody advises it because we cannot be sure of that. What is also important in this whole thing, and that's, I think, a short kind of explanation I want to give. So it's the input from wastewater, bath, shower, washing machine, and also condensation water of aircos. For the output, it's for lavatories, it's for washing machines, for garden irrigation and pools. And the whole system is a treatment plant. And one important thing that is in our design is it doesn't use any chemicals, it doesn't use any filters. And why not? Chemicals because of a sustainable future, and filters, why not? Because they are very maintenance intensive. Also, what is important, all the systems that are being installed now are connected to the internet, and with internet connection, I will go there. We provide customers with an app. I don't know if you are aware of, for example, the Nest kind of solutions or the Energy kind of solutions. People are getting more and more used to have an app to control their systems. It creates and enhances customer awareness. It offers efficiency assistance in finding efficiency. It provides people also with a control mechanism to change the priority settings at any time. And I think that's also important, also given the discussion we had earlier on, it also provides an instrument for local community incentive programs. So you can show people how they take care compared to other people. And that definitely works also with similar kind of systems for taking more care of energy usage. Another important thing is, and yeah, we have been done installations now in 20 different countries, not in India so far, but for example, we also installed systems somewhere in a desert and an eco lodge in Namibia. And yeah, we are able, when the systems are being installed, we are able to do an automatic test run. After that, the operation of the system can be released. But also, when a problem might occur, then we can directly monitor this and find it out. So in the Namibia systems, after a month, there was a problem coming up, and within 10 minutes we had found out that somebody in the manufacturing site had put in a wrong component, what was a component only of 50 cents. We were able to instruct the local installer, and he had solved it within a matter of a few hours. So that's also very important. All systems are connected, are monitored, and it learns us also a lot about customer behavior. And consumer behavior is different all around the world, is different between families, is different in business buildings. The treatment process, I will keep this very short, but at first the water comes in from the top. We have a smart technology that leverages air pressure to stimulate the law of communicating vessels. If you, for example, go to shower water, a small part of it is heavier than water. We collect that at the bottom of the tank. The major part of it is floating dirt, like hair and soap, and that will float over on top of the skimmer directly into the sewer. This is also why we are not able to use 100% of the shower water, but at the end of the day, it's only 95%. Even after this, there is still some dirt in it. Because of that, we stimulate the process with tiny air bubbles, and small particles will be collected on it. And also that goes on top of the skimmer. Because of these tiny air bubbles, also there will be foam fractionation. Also that goes on top of the skimmer. After this, it will be distributed over the storage tanks. In the storage tank, there is an aerobic bioreactor that also kills whatever still is in it, and we know that it's very limited. And to be fully sure about it, every 4 hours the water also runs via UV disinfection light. And this is an ongoing process. The system we currently have is with 300 liters tanks. It's perfect fit for townhouses, for villas with 4, 5, 6 people living into it. We are releasing now a cascade system that the first installations will be done in September in student housing and in some sports clubs. So there we cascade multiple of the systems, and we can set up systems that can treat up to 6,000 liters of water per day. And we're also working on a smaller system that will be perfect fit with no extra footprint to be put in small family housing or multifamily housing like apartments. So in short, it's fit and forget kind of installation. Once it is done into the building, it's very low maintenance. The most maintenance incentive element into it is the UV lighting that has some constraints in hours it can operate. So we advise to replace that.
Right. So Frank,
into the or if there is no, sorry.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. If I can request, if you can
you hear me?
Wrap it up in next 2 minutes, because we have the next session speakers ready with us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you wrap it up in 2 minutes?
Yeah, I'm doing that. This is the last slide I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's automatic. It's all kind of safety things into it. So if there is some kind of failure with electricity system or with Wi-Fi or whatsoever, it automatically switches back to regular tap water supply. There are safe air gaps, so there will be not any chance that the grey water will be mixed up with the potable water supply. It's regular self-cleaning and low maintenance, filters, membranes, or chemicals. So yeah, I hope this is giving you some food for thought. I will stop my sharing. Yeah, the company is rapidly scaling up. I already told you we are supplying now to 20 different kind of countries. We have quite a few requests from people from India, and yeah, we truly hope that people who are in the conference here are inspired by this. And you can find us on hydraloop.com, and we will be happy to provide you with more information.
Thanks, Mr. Frank. I think it was important that I like the tagline of your PPT where you said that stay in your comfort but useless. I think that should be an interesting to be adapted in Indian conditions. And I think policymakers and experts who are present in this conference today in various sessions will be quite interested to have a discussion with you off the line of this conference, and then you can talk more about your innovation of Hydraloop Systems BV Netherlands. Thanks a lot. With this, I wanted to have a interactive 5 minutes chat with all of our panelists, but we are really running short of time because the next session speakers are already here. So it was great having you all for this important and insightful session on taking water to the last mile, importance of innovation, rejuvenating water bodies, and we got state perspective, we got industry perspective, we got global perspective. So I think it was an insightful and enlightening session for me and all the people who have logged in Facebook to see this session live. With this, I again going to thank Mr. A. Vikrant Raja, Government of Secretary to the Chief Minister, Government of Puducherry, Mr. Sushil Agarwal, MD TCIPL, Mr. Frank Verschoor, Hydraloop Systems Netherlands, Mr. Nitin Bhadauria, DM Almora, Mr. Nikhil Kumar, CEO Delhi Jal Port, and Dr. Tejaswi Naik, MD MT Jal Nigam. With this, we move to the next session, a very important session of APAC Digital News Network Global Water Management Conclave, a session on rainwater harvesting, and a very good initiative by the National Water Mission, Catch the Rain. So we are coming. The next session will start on Catch the Rain by National Water Mission, Government of India.
Thank you.